Welcome to the RBV Show, where I'm wearing red today because the lock of the week, quite frankly, was 4-0 last week. It was red hot, just like my red shirt. Overall, the lock of the week at 17-9. After what I've already told you, a nice 4-0 week. Everybody stepped up and delivered last week. The Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens beat the bejesus out of their competition. They killed them. The over in the USC Washington game hit. And last but not least, the Louisville, they took Virginia Tech to the woodshed, and they beat them, and they all covered. And by the way, I just want to point out, the over on the USC Washington game was literally over in the third quarter. So, hey, you got to love it. Quite frankly, this week when you look at the NFL and even college football, it's not really there's a lot of quality games this week, but, you have to do what you have to do, and you have to pick through the weeds and find the good locks. And that's what it is. Because we're going right now, folks, to the lock of the week. All right. The first NFL lock of the week, Patriots versus the Colts. Colts are currently favored by minus 1.5. This pains me to say it, and I certainly never would say it back in the heyday of the Bill Belichick era. But you got to ride with the Colts on this one. The Patriots are they are what they are at this point. And what they are is they're not very good. The offense can't move the ball, and the defense is on the field far too long during games. The Colts right now have a top 10 offense, and Jonathan Taylor looked pretty damn good last week. J.C. Jackson of the Patriots, he's not even making the damn game out in Germany because he was late. He was late to the team hotel. J.C., stop being on time at the team hotel. For God's sake, it's not hard. I don't think the Patriots right now are going to be motivated at all to play this game, to win this game after their horrendous opponents against the Commanders. If you watch that game, Juju Smith-Schuster's missing passes. People can't run routes. The defense they kept him in the game as usual, but it's not going to work. It's not going to work out against the Colts. Pittman and Taylor for the Colts are not going to light the world on fire, but they're going to do enough for the Colts to score enough points to cover the spread. That's the fact of the matter. The Patriots can't move the ball right now, and to be honest, their wide receivers are utter garbage. They look like they spent the night at Pizza Project just downing pizzas. It's terrible. You take the Colts right now at minus 1.5 for the first NFL lock of the week. The second NFL lock of the week is the Seahawks Commanders game at the Seahawks minus 6. You take the Seahawks in this situation. The Redskins didn't play a team last week that was able to take advantage of the depleted offensive line. Well, the Seahawks are going to be ready, and I'm sure Kenny Walker is chopping at the bit. The Seahawks will be able to run the ball with success against Washington. The Patriots averaged 5 yards a crack against them last week. And the Patriots don't have a great offense at all. And definitely not moving mountains by any means. But Seattle's going to be able to take advantage. Metcalf and Lockett, the Seattle receivers, will bounce back and have great games for the Seahawks. And finally, I think Washington going on the road in that hostile environment, it's going to be too much for them to overcome. Sure, they had a decent offense, but I don't think it will be enough to keep that game close against the Seahawks. You take the Seahawks right now at minus 6. All right. Let's get to my college football locks of the week. And they're brought to you by Pizza Project for all your pizza needs in the Brighton, Massachusetts area. And you can also catch them this weekend at, Vitamin C Brewery in Weymouth, right by my house. The people love it. All right. Oregon versus USC over 73.5. You take the over in this situation. It's a lock of the week. The Oregon offense is prolific, and they're not going to take the foot off the gas the entire game. If you really need to see evidence of this, see that game against Colorado. For God's sakes, they're trying to run up the score ridiculously. They have a ton. Oregon has a ton to play for, and USC literally doesn't have anything to play for. Oregon put up 63 points against California. The offense is ridiculous right now, and it's led by Bo Nix. He's a great quarterback. We all know that USC fired their defensive coordinator this week, but I don't think it's going to make a damn difference. I think these teams will go back and forth, matching touchdowns. Caleb Williams is in what is going to be his last college football game. Assuming he's not going to play the bowl game, which he probably won't. will look to put on a show, and Knicks will as well. I think the over is the play here because USC's defense sucks, and Oregon's offense is going to roll, and USC will get their points. And folks, that's why I'm making it my lock of the week. James Madison versus UConn. UConn's been in this section a lot, but I think this one's a good one. This pick is based on two teams that are going complete opposite directions. UConn right now is 1-8 on the season, and they just got curb stomped by Tennessee last weekend on the road. They lost 59-0, and quite frankly, they didn't do anything that would warrant any positive feelings to this game. James Madison is ranked 24th in the nation as 9-0. The campus in the stadium will be on fire for James Madison, and I think the team is going to roll UConn. James Madison has a great offense and that scoring close to 34 points a game, and a great rush defense that's holding teams to 59 yards a game. Honestly, this game makes too much sense not to pick James Madison. They're going to be locked, loaded, and ready to roll over UConn. So you take James Madison with confidence at negative 24.5 for the final lock of the week. All right. NFL and NCAA picks. For the NCAA, Arizona State right now, Arizona State versus UCLA. I'm picking plus 18 Arizona State. Arizona State, they play really well against great teams. I think the line is too high. UCLA got their clock cleaned by Arizona last week, and Arizona State got their clock cleaned by Utah. But I think Arizona State is the play here. UCLA has failed to cover many big lines this season. They couldn't beat Coastal. They didn't cover Coastal Carolina. They didn't cover Colorado. There's other games that escape me right now. They're not a covering team, and this spread I think is too big for UCLA. And also, another reason why I don't think UCLA is going to do anything is again, their 3-quarterback system. Again, they started that stupid transfer last week. And Dante Moore, who's a really dynamic player, he's much better than this transfer. Is just sitting on there riding the pine. I really don't get why Chip Kelly will not play this kid. It makes no sense to me, and it's just fucking bullshit, honestly. Arizona State is the pick here. With the exception of last week, they've kept many of their games close, and they've played, and kept them much closer than the 18-point spread. So the two big games that everyone is talking about this week is Penn State versus Michigan, and Georgia versus, I think it's Ole Miss or something. Well, it's not something. I'm gonna actually, get this right here. Jesus, RBV, what are you doing here? So let's talk about being prepared. Preparation's everything in life sometimes. And when you're not prepared, you have moments like this. So what are you going to do? All right. Michigan is playing Penn State. As I said before, Michigan's playing Penn State. They're currently a 4.5 favorite over the Nittany Lions. And the game is at Penn State. If I were to take a stab at this game, I'd probably go Penn State. Michigan minus 4.5. And the reasons are as follows. Michigan's got a great defense. J.J. McCarthy, as I've been saying. And plus, Michigan's been taking care of business all year, while Penn State hasn't. I mean, they barely beat freaking Maryland, and they barely beat Indiana. That's not taking care of business, folks. I understand that Penn State might be thinking revenge here, and stop Michigan's title run. But I think Michigan is just too locked and too loaded, and they're ready to go. And they're going to walk into Happy Valley, and people aren't going to be happy after they leave there. It's that simple. Hold on. Let's see. I guess if there was one game I would avoid this week, I think it might be Utah versus Washington. Utah does have a great defense. And I think it could slow down, the Huskies a little bit, or a great deal. I also think it's going to be very hard for Washington to be up to play Utah after a very emotional game against USC. They could have a little bit of a letdown, and Utah could take advantage. Utah does have a great defense, and it might allow their offense to at least, have a fighting chance in this game. And also with the spread at 9.5, I don't know if it's the most confident take is to take Washington. That's just I didn't have that in the script, but I figured I would just let the viewers know. Okay, so Georgia is playing Ole Miss. Now that we've wasted 2 minutes of your very valuable time, they're playing them in Athens. I think Georgia takes this. I think they got a great defense, great offense, and I think that Ole Miss, as good as they are, I think the home field advantage is probably going to be too much for them. I also think that Georgia's peaking at the right time. They covered the lock of the week 2 weeks ago. I think they're gonna, I think they'll cover the 10.5 spread this week. So now we're gonna move on to the NFL picks. The Niners Jaguars game. It's the Niners are favored by 3 points. I think it's a game that I would just stay away from. The Niners really haven't been playing well and they haven't been consistent. And the Jaguars, they look great some weeks and then they don't look so great other weeks. I think until both teams show you some consistency, then there's no reason to waste your hard-earned money in backing either of them. And I honestly wouldn't even back the total. I mean, why give yourself unnecessary heartburn? It's just it's a bag haul, and I don't think it's the wisest move. Also wouldn't another game I wouldn't bet on would be the Falcons Cardinals. Both teams aren't playing good right now. The Falcons, I mean, they have Tyler Heineke as their quarterback. They have a million problems. They really can't get it together. And the Cardinals really haven't had a good season at all. Sure, Kyler Murray's back, but I mean, from ACL, surgery. I mean, how rusty is he going to be? I know you could argue the Cardinals will get like a big lift. Kyler Murray's back, but is this really worth wasting your hard-earned money? Supporting these bozos? It probably isn't. So keep your money in your pocket. And bet on something else. Just not table tennis. That's a horrendous decision. All right. Ravens versus Browns. Overall, you just take the Ravens here. Sure, the Browns pulled it out for the lock of the week, but that was last week. The Ravens, the way that the Ravens are playing right now, it's not even a question. The curb stomped Seattle and just completely blew them out. And despite the win against the Cardinals for the Browns, I can't imagine that this carries over to Baltimore. Overall, I think the Ravens' offensive line will keep the Browns' defensive line in check. And I think a little bit of time will allow, Lamar Jackson to hit Mark Andrews, Zay, and Odell Beckham Jr. I mean, he had a very big breakout game for the Ravens, and he definitely adds a new dimension to the offense now that he's, magically turned back the clock and come back to life. So I think that, the Ravens -6, I think it's the way to go. Dallas versus Giants. Of course I'd take Dallas, but man, I'm wary of this game. Silly things seem to happen to the Cowboys. They always seem to play down to the level of their opponent. The Giants' offense isn't going to move mountains with DeVito as the QB, but this seems to me to be a trap game for Dallas. If you must roll with the Cowboys, go ahead, but just beware. Nothing's set in stone here, folks. Anything can happen. All right, let's see how time's going. All right. Let's go to our MVPs, the wonks of the week, or the dope of the days. And of course, the letters to Robbie V. Dear Robbie V, the lock of the week went 4-0. You must be happy. How do you feel about the fall season? Do you care about leaf peeping? What is your favorite pumpkin beer? Obviously, I'm very happy that the lock of the week went 4-0. And I hope, I'm a man of the people. I want people to win money. And by following the lock of the week, you definitely would have won money this year. But it's got to continue. There's no weeks off for the lock of the week. So thank you for your support. How do you feel about the fall season? I'm a big fan of pumpkin pie, Thanksgiving, and pumpkin beer. So I love Thanksgiving. I appreciate you asking me about that. I mean, the leaves falling down sucks, but what are you going to do? Do I care about leaf peeping? No, I don't give a damn about leaf peeping. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, good to those who like it, but whatever. What is your favorite pumpkin beer? I mean, I personally like Shipyard pumpkin beer. It's one of my personal favorites, and whatever's probably on tap, at Vitamin C or Barrel House Z. They usually had a good one. So I suggest that you check it out. All right, let's go to our MVPs. So Kelsey Bain is our MVP this week. For those of you who didn't know, in Massachusetts, there was a field hockey game between Dighton Rehoboth and probably botched that and Swampscott and Swampscott. Normally, this really wouldn't be, newsworthy other than those two towns. But unfortunately, there was a very gruesome injury that happened in the game. Basically, on a corner shot, the Swampscott player, passed it over to her teammate, and then basically the teammate, shot the ball ridiculously hard and it knocked knocked the poor girl's two teeth out. And obviously, the video is harrowing. If you Google field hockey injury, Massachusetts, I'm sure it'll come right up on YouTube. And basically, screams that started screaming and with screams that filled the stadium, and I never want to hear him again. So, now the reason why this made news is because in Massachusetts, if a sport isn't offered for boys, then and they can go play on the girls' team. And the guy who did this was I forget. I think it was Sawyer Goofus. I believe that's his name. So basically, this kid is about 6'4", 230 pound, huge guy. Got a whole bunch. He has a lot of strength. He basically just hit a penalty shot, bashed in the freaking poor girl's teeth, and whatnot. Dighton Rehoboth ended up losing 2-0 because Spencer, Sawyer, whatever his name is, scored the two goals, and they moved on. But in the rule, I think that allows this to happen is kind of outdated and probably should have a nice strong look at it. That's just my opinion. I'm not looking to that's what I'm looking to say. So obviously, Dighton Rehoboth, was pretty upset that this happened. They thought the guy shouldn't have been playing, etc. So a lot of what people do, and especially this day and age, is they go on these unhinged rants and start talking smack, and get on Twitter and get all fired up, and next thing you know, you're on, you're going viral for just being an idiot. Well, Kelsey Bain didn't do that. She actually wrote a very well worded letter to the Massachusetts Athletic Association, the MIAA, and she basically said, the MIA should, they should look into why boys should be allowed to play for girls field hockey. She also pointed out very eloquently all the, strengths and advantages a male would have over a female, especially at the high school age. And of course she tagged, the normal suspects, Fox and all them. I don't know if they're going to pick it up or have her on, but it's definitely interesting. As I said before, the video of the girl getting hit's awful, and it's all over Twitter. I hope she recovers from the injury, but there's no doubt that she has a very long road ahead of her. And if you don't want to watch the video, I suggest you don't. Screams are pretty bad. I just hope the MIA kind of looks into this rule so we don't have any, gruesome field hockey injuries, and I just hope that just for fairness as well. I mean, really kind of examine this. And this isn't the only case of this out. Not for injury's sake, but male dominating field hockey in Mass. This isn't the only case. I think Turtle Boy actually did a piece on this. If you want to check that out, it talks about this incident and other instances in the past. So good job, Kelsey. Way to bring this attention to this matter in a very eloquent, professional way for definitely wise beyond your years. Dope of the day. The Giants, who are starting a rookie QB this Sunday, against the Cowboys, and Daniel Jones stuff, for the season. The Giants literally have Daniel Jones signed to a multi-year contract, for a lot of money, and we'll probably have to play and have a better chance to get one of their better QBs in the draft. What to do? So let me rephrase that. Basically, the Giants are dope of the day. They don't have any good quarterbacks. They sign them basically a multi-year, like $100 million deal for Daniel Jones. They stink, and now they're in the draft. They're going to have a chance to get one of the two better QBs, except that $30 million is basically locked up in Daniel Jones. So the Giants are dope of the day. Make better personnel decisions. What are you going to do? It's life. Sure, the show isn't that free-flowing, but, that's life too. All right. USC. USC defense is dope of the day. That was an awful performance on Saturday. Stop, what are they doing? They couldn't stop Robbie V, never mind freaking, going to the refrigerator, never mind Washington. It was awful. They suck. They need to be better, but I thank them for their good performance at the lock of the week because USC Washington overcashed. Thumbs up. Stop oil protesters. They're also dope of the day today. They hammered a freaking a painting in order to protest climate change. I'm not really sure how that's related, but enjoy your dope of the day award because it's well deserved. Wonk of the week is Josh McDaniels is Wonk of the week. The telling Antonio Pierce not to reference the 2007 championship again after he gave his speech to the team. It was fucking ridiculous. Josh, that happened like 16 years ago. I think you need to get over it, buddy. Way to get fired from the Raiders. I mean, what the heck? Although the Raiders are then acted like a bunch of wonks, lighting up cigars after their win this past Sunday. I mean, they won one game. It was just fucking a joke. The Raiders need to make the playoffs and win a playoff game before, we start lighting up cigars in the locker room. Once they do that, we'll talk. I'm here in Weymouth at Vitamin C. All right, thumbs up. One final note. I'm going to be dropping a play of the day on Friday from the Olindes parking lot, so be on the lookout on that. And I may have a surprise lock of the week, an additional lock of the week. I haven't made any decisions yet, but if it drops, it's going to drop Friday. So stay tuned to my Twitter account. All right. Obviously, I'm going to do a video. And please follow me at RBV25 Show. Also, subscribe to the K-Man Network and make the MVP move. And enjoy, this Friday night at 8, Mike and the Minifans, Quantum Kirk, Mount Rush Kirk, and other great shows on the Kirk Minahan Network. And also support the Big Dog Show and the Deegan Podcast. I believe the Deegan Podcast is on Sunday. And the Big Dog Gambling Show, well, that's on Thursday morning, which I watch every time. Well, on the way to work or traveling to work, whatever. Has this show been a train wreck? Absolutely it has. But hey, have a good night.